The Adventures of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain. Chapter 1.
But Tom, no answer. Tom, no answer. What's wrong with that boy, I wonder? You, Tom, no answer. The old lady put her spectacles down and looked over them about the room. Then she put them up and looked out under them. She seldom or never looked through them for a small thing as a boy. They were her state bear, the pride of her heart, and were built for a style, not service. She could have seen through a pair of soft lids used as well. She looked perplexed for a moment and then said, not faithfully, but still loud enough for the furniture to hear, "Well, I laid if I could hold you I'll." She did not finish, for by this time she was bending down and punching under the bed with the broom, and she needed breath to punctuate the punches which she recollected with the gad. I never see the beat of that boy. She went to the open door and stood in it and looked out among the vines and Jimson weeds that constitute the garden. Not Tom, so she filled up her voice and then calculated for a distance and shouted, "You, Tom!" There was a slight noise behind her, and she turned just in time to see a small boy by the slide of his friend about and arrest his flight. "There, I might top of that closet. What you been doing in there?" "Nothing." "Nothing. Look at your hands and look at your mouth. Look at your mouth. What is that track?" "I don't know, Aunt." "Well, I know it's a jam, but what it is. 40 times I've said that you didn't let that jam alone, I'd skin you. Hand me that switch." The switch hovered in the air. The peer was desperate. "My, look behind you, Aunt." The old lady whirled around and snatched her lids above the air. The dog fled off the distance and scrambled off the higher board fence and disappeared over it. His son Polly stood with pride for a moment and then broke into headlong loud. "Hank the boy cat I never learned anything. Ain't he played me tricks enough like that for me to be dog enough for him by this time? But old fools is the biggest fool there is. Can learn an old dog new tricks as the saying is, but my goodness, he never plays them alike. 2 days and how is body to know what's coming? He appears to know just how long he can torment me before I get my danger up. And he knows if he can make out to put me off for a minute or make me laugh, it's all done again and I can hit him a lick. I ain't doing my duty by that boy, and that's the Lord's truth. Goodness knows. Spare the rod and spy the child, as the good book says. I'm a laid up, sin and suffering for us both, I know. He's full of old scratch, but loves me. He's my own dead sister boy. Poor thing. And I ain't going to hurt to lash him somehow. Every time I let it off, my conscience does hurt me so, and every time I hit him, my own heart most breaks. Well, man is that that is born of woman is in 2 days and full of trouble, as the scripture says. And I reckon it so. He'll play hooky this evening, and southwestern for afternoon. I'll just be obliged to make him work tomorrow to punish him. It's mighty hard to make him work Saturdays, when all the boys is having holiday. But he hates work more than he hates anything else, and I've got to do something of my duty with him, or rather the ruination of the child. Tom did play hockey, and he had a very good time. He got back home barely in a season to help Jim, the small-colored boy, saw next bait wound, and split the kindlings before supper. At least he was there in time to tell his adventures to Jim while Jim did their three-fourths of the work. Tom's younger brother, or rather half-brother, Sid was already through his part of the work, picking up chips, for he was a good boy and had not adventurous troublesome ways. While Tom was eating his supper and saving sugar as an opportunity for fur, Aunt Polly asked him questions that were full of guile, and were very deep, for she wanted to turn him into damaging revealments. Like many other simple-hearted souls, it was her pet vanity to believe that she was endowed by that talent and for dark and mysterious diplomacy, and she loved to contemplate her most transparent devices as marvels of her cunning. Said she, "Tom, it was mildly warm or cold, weren't it?" "Yes, powerful warm, weren't it?" Yes, ma'am. Didn't you want to do as the swimming pool, Tom? A bit of a scared shot through Tom, a touch of uncomfortable suspicion. He searched out Polly's face, but it told him nothing, so he said, "No, ma'am. Well, not very much." The old lady reached out her hand and felt Tom's sheet and said, "But you ain't too warm now, sir." And I flattered her to reflect she had discovered that the sheet was right, without anybody knowing that was what she had in her mind. But in spite of her, Tom knew where the wind lay now, so he foresaw that might be the next move. Some of us pulled on our heads. Might not yet see. Aunt Polly was vexed to think she was overlooked a bit of circumstantial evidence and missed a trick. Then she had a new inspiration. "Tom, you didn't have to do your shirt collar where I see it, to put on your head, did you? Unbutton your jacket." The trouble vanished out of Tom's face. He opened his jacket, his shirt collar was securely sealed. "Bother. We'll go along with you. I made sure you played hockey and been a swimming. But I forgive ya. Tom, I reckon you're kind of a single cat, as the saying is. Better you look this time." She was half sorry. Her sagacity and miscarried, and half glad that Tom had stumbled into obedient conduct for once. But Sidney said, "Well now, if I didn't think you sewed his collar with white thread, but it's black. Why, I didn't sew it this white, Tom." But Tom did not wait for the rest, and he went off the record. He said, "Sidney, I'll kid you for that." In a safe place, Tom examined two large needles, which were thrust in the lapels of his jacket, and had thread wound about them. One needle carried white thread, and the other black, he said. She never noticed if I had scheduled for seat. Confound it. Sometimes she seals it with white, and sometimes she seals it with black. I wish, to Jamie, she'd stick to one further. I can keep the run of them. But I bet you I'll MC for that. I learned him. He was not the model boy of the village. He knew the model boy very well through and loved him.
Within 2 minutes, or even less, he had forgotten all his troubles, not because his troubles were one whit less heavy and bitter to him than a man's are to a man, but because a new and powerful interest bore them down and drove them out of his mind for the time. Just a man's misfortunes are forgotten in the excitement of new enterprises. This new interest was a valued novelty in whistling, which he had just acquired from a negro, and his, he was suffering to practice it undisturbed. It consisted in a peculiar beer-like tone, a sort of liquid warble, produced, produced by touching the tongue to the roof of the mouth at short intervals in midst of the music. The reader probably remembers how to do it if he has ever been a boy. Diligence and attention soon gave him the knack of it, and he strode down the street with his mouth full of harmony and his soul full of gratitude. He felt much as an astronomer feels who has discovered a new planet. No doubt, as far as strong, deep, unalloyed pleasure is concerned, the advantage was with the boy, not the astronomer. The summer evenings were long. It was not dark yet. Presently Tom checked his whistle. A stranger was before him, a boy a shade larger than himself, a newcomer of any age or either sex was impressive curiosity in the poor little shabby village of St. Petersburg. This boy was well dressed too, well dressed on a weekday. This was simple astounding. His cap was a dainty thing, his clothes, toned blue cloth round boat, was new and natty, and so were his pantaloons. He had shoes on, and it was only Friday. He even wore a nicktie, a bright bit of ribbon. He had a citified air about him that ate into Tom's vitals. The more Tom stared at the splendid marble, the higher he turned up his nose at his finery, and the shabbier his own outfit seemed to him to grow. Neither boy spoke. If one moved, the other moved, but only sidewise in a circle. They kept face to face and eye to eye all the time. Finally Tom said, "I can lick you. I like to see you try it." "Well, I can do it." "No, you can't, either." "Yes, I can." "No, you can't." "I can." "You can't." "Can." "Can't." An uncomfortable pause. Then Tom said, "What's your name?" "This isn't any your business, maybe." "Well, I'll make it my business." "Well, why you don't?" "If you say much, I will." "Much, much, much there now." "Oh, you think you're mighty smart, don't you? I could lick you with one hand tied behind me if I wanted to." "Well, why don't you do it? You say you can do it." "Well, I will." "Are you full with me?" "Oh, yes. I've seen whole families in the same fix." "Marty, you think you're some. Now you don't, you. Oh, what a hat. You can laugh that hat if you don't like it. I dare you to knock it off. And anybody tall take a dare will sucker. You're a liar. You're another. You're a fighting liar and doesn't take it up. Oh, take a walk. Say, if you give me much more of your sass, you'll take and bounce a rock off your head. Oh, of course you will. Well, I will. Well, why don't you do it then? What do you keep saying you will for? Why don't you do it? It's because you're afraid. I ain't afraid. You are. I ain't. You are. Another pause, and more eyeing and sidling around each other. Presently they were shoulder to shoulder. Tom said, "Get away from her. Go away yourself." "I won't. I won't later." So they stood, each with a foot placed at an angle as a brace, and both shoving with might and main, and lowering at each other with hate, but neither could get an advantage. After straining their boat were hot and flushed, each relaxed his strain with watchful caution, and Tom said, "You're a coward and a pup. I'll tell my big brother on you, and he can thrash you with little finger, and I'll make him do it too." "What do I care for your big brother? I've got a brother that's bigger than he is. And what's more, he can throw him over the fence too." Both brothers were imaginary. "That's a lie." "You're saying you don't make it so." Tom drew a line in the dust with a big toe and said, "I dare you to step over that, and I'll lick you till you can't stand up. Anybody tells take a dare will steal his ship." The new boy stepped over promptly and said, "Now you say you'll do it." Now, let's see you do it. Don't you crow me now. You better look out. Well, you say you do it. Why don't you do it? By jingo, for 2 cents I will do it. The new boy took two broads copper of his pocket and held them out with derision. Tom struck them to the ground. In an instant both boys were rolling and tumbling in a dirt, gripped together like a cats, and for the space of a minute they tugged and tore at each other's hair and clothes, punched and scratched each other's nose, and covered themselves with dust and glory. Presently the confusion took form, and through the fog of battle Tom appeared, seated astride the new boy, and pounding him with his fist. "Holler enough," said he. The boy only struggled to free himself. He was crying, mainly from rage. "Holler enough," and the pounding went off. At last the stranger got smothered enough, and Tom led him up and said, "Now I'll learn you. Better look out who you are fooling with next time." The new boy went off brushing the dust from his clothes, soughing, snuffling, and occasionally looking back and shaking his head and threatening what he would do to Tom the next time he called him out, to which Tom responded with jeers and started off in high feather, and as soon as his back was turned, the new boy snatched up a stone, threw it and hit him between the shoulders, and then turned it tail and ran like an antelope. Tom chased the traitor home, and to find out where he lived. He then held a position at the gate for some time, daring the enemy to come outside, but the enemy only made faces at him through the window and declined. At the last the enemy mothers appeared and called Tom a bad vicious vulgar child and ordered him away. So he went away, but he said he loved it. Too late for that boy. He got home pretty late that night, and when he climbed cautiously in the window, he uncovered an ambuscade in the person of his aunt, and when she saw the state his clothes were in her resolution to turn his Saturday holiday into captivity, at her labor became adamantine in its firmness.
Saturday morning was come, and all the summer world was fresh and fresh and brimming with life. There was a song in every head, and if the head was young, the music issued up the life. There was cheer in every face and a spring in every step. The locust tree were in bloom, and the fragrance of the blossom filled the air. Garden hill beyond the village and above it was green with vegetation, and it lay just far enough away to seem a delightfully land, dreamy, reposeful, and inviting. Tom appeared on the side wall with a bucket of white grass and long-handled boots. The circuit, the fence, and all gladness left him, and a deep melancholy settled down upon his spirit. 30 yards of board fenced 9 feet high. Life to him seemed hollow and existent but a burden. Sighing, he dipped his broom and passed in along the topmost plank. Re- repeated the operation. Did it again. Compared the insignificant white quashed street with the far-reaching contained of unwhitewashed fencing, and sat down on a tree box discovering Jim came skipping out the gate with a tin pile at seeing buffalo calves, bringing water from the town pub had always been hateful word in young ages, for but now it did no street him saw. He remembered that there was company at the pub, white, mulatto, and negro boy, and girl, were always there waiting their turns, resting, trading, platings, curling, fighting, skylarking, and he remembered the although the pump was only 105 yards off. Jim never got back with a bucket of water under an arm, and eventually somebody generally had to go after him. Tom sighed. Sigh, Jim. I'll fetch the water if you whitewash some. Jim shook his head and sighed. Can't, mark down. All Miss. She told me I got to go and get this water and not start falling wrong with anybody. She said she expects Martstone will going to ask me to whitewash, and so she told me go long at tend to my own business. She lowered she tend to the whitewashing. Oh, never you mind what she said, Jim. That's the way she always talks. Jim, the bucket. I won't be gone only a minute. She won't ever know. Oh, I doesn't mark down only easy. She take and tear the head of me that she won't. She? She never likes anybody. Crashed in over hit with her time and cookies for that. I I'll like to know. She turns out to talk don't food and wines. It don't if she don't cry. Jim will keep you a marvel. I'll hide you a white lily. Jim began to waver. White Allen Jim and it a woolly tam. My that's a mighty guy marvel. I tell you, but Marton is powerful. Find all miss be seen if you will. I'll show you my soy toy. Jim was only human. This attraction was too much for him. He would down his pile, totally quite alley, and being over the toy with absorbing interest, while the pile took the white alley and bent over the toy with absorbing interest. If the bandage was being worn, in another moment he was falling down the street with his spine and tickling with. Tom was whitewashing with vigor, and Aunt Polly was returning for the fight with a slipper in her hand and triumph in her eye. But Tom's energy did not last. He began to think out the room he had planned for this day, and his sorrows multiplied. So the pretty boy would come peeping along on all sort of delicious expeditions, and they would make a war of fun his for having to form the every turn of his pumpkin like fire. He got out his whirling well and examined it. Bit of toy, marble, and trash, enough to buy a strange exchange of words. My would not have enough to buy so much at had all of pure freedom. So he returned his straightening me to his pocket and gave up the idea of trying to buy the boy. At this dark and hopeless moment, an inspiration burst upon her, nothing less than a great magnificent inspiration. He took up his broom and went tranquilly to work. Being voyagers hope in sight presently. The very boy and all boys, both ridiculous he had been reading, Beans was the hope skip and June, rough enough that his heart was like and his anticipation high. He was eating an apple and giving a long, melodious walk at intervals, followed by a deep toned ding dong dong, ding dong dong, for he was personating a steamboat. As he drained, he slackened speed, took the middle of the street, leaned far over to starboard, and returned to ponderously and with laborious pub and circumstance. For the was personating the big Missouri and considered himself to be drumming nine feet of water. He was put and captain and engine bells contained so, so he had to imagine himself standing on his own weekend desk, giving the orders and executing them. Stop here, sir. Think at a link. The headway one almost out, and he turned up slowly toward the sidewalk. Ship up the back. Think at a link. his arms straightened to his stiffened down his slants. Sit her back on the starboard. Think link, link, show, show, whoa, show. His right hand meantime describing a stately circle, for it was repeating a 40-foot well. Let her go back on the larboard. Think a link, jump, jump, jump. The, the left hand began to the script circle. Stop the starboard. Think a link. Stop the larboard. Go ahead of the starboard. Stop here. Let your outside turn over slow. Think a link. Show oh. Get out the headline. Level it now. Come out with your spray line. What are you about there? Take a turn around that slum with the big hit of it. Stand by that stage. Now, let's here go. Down with the engine, sir. Think a link. Shh, shh, shh. Trying the go. Go. Down when whitewashing. By no attention to the sting, but being started a moment and inside. Hi, G, you are upon a stone. I think you no answer. Don't survey his last touch with the age of an artist that he gave his front another gentle sweep and surveyed the result as before. Ben ranged up alongside of him. Tom's mouth watered for the apple, but he stuck to his wound. Ben said, "Hello, old chap. You go to work, eh?" Tom Welling suddenly and said, "Why? It's you, Ben." I warned noticed him. Say, I'm going in swimming. I am don't not you you go to the schools you through work will not you force it you wow don't contemplate the void a bit and say what do you talk about why ain't that work don't assume his whitewashing and unsquared carelessly. Well, maybe it is, and maybe it ain't. Uh, I know is it sweet Tom Sawyer. Oh, come now, you don't mean to let on that you like it. The brook continued to move. Like yes, well, I don't see why I ought to like it. Does a boy get ashamed to whitewash a fence every day? That put the thing in a nibbling. Being stopped nibbling his apple. Don't square with his brush daintily back and forth. Stepped back to note the fat, added a touch he and there certificate the fat anger, paint washing every movie and getting more and more stained, more and more absorbed. Presently he sighed. Sigh, Tom. Let's make white quads alive. Don't consider it. What's about to concert? But he altered his mind. No, no, I reckon it wasn't hardly done. Ben, to say Aunt Polly as particular about this fence. What he on strip, you know, but if it was the fence, I will not mind, and she will not. Yes, she's awful particular about this fence. It's going to be done very awful. I vacated 3 1 boy. in 1,000, maybe 2,000. That can you if the why it got to become. No, Statsu. Oh, come now, limbs, you stray. Only just a little. It lets you. If you wash me down, bang! I'd like to honest you, but Aunt Polly, well, I wanted to eat, but she won't let him. Sid wanted to do it, and she won't let Sid. No, don't you see how I fish it? If you want to tackle this fence and anything was to happen to it, oh, Stush, I'll be just as careful. No limb try. Sign, I'll hide you the core of my apple. Well, no, Ben, no, don't. I'm afraid I'll have you out of it. Don't get up the runes white relucent in his face. But I'll agree in his hair. Um, while the late streamer Big Missouri worked and squatted in the Zoom. The, the retired artist sat on Babel in the chair close by, dangled his leg, munched his apple, and planned the slaughter of more innocent. There was no lack of materials. Poets happened along every little while. They come together, but remain to whitewash. By mid-time Ben was fanged out. Tom had tried to next chain to build Fisher for a kite in good repair and went in to play it out. Johnny Miller bowled in for at the bat and string to swing it wide, and so on and so on, all after all, and in the middle of the afternoon came from being a poor, poverty-stricken boy in the morning. Tom was literally falling in wealth. He had facing the ticking before mentioned. Two marbles, part of Job's heart, a piece of brewered glass to look through a sport cannon, a key that won't unlock anything, a fragment of chalk, a glass stopper of a decanter, a tin solder, a couplet of tap bolts, six firecrackers, a kitten with only one ace, a branch door, no, a dog collar, but no dog, the handle of a knife, or piece of orange peel, and dilapidated all windows. He had a night, good little time, all the while, plenty of company, and fence had 3 quarts of white quartz on it. If he hadn't run out of what was, he would have bankrupted every boy in the beach. Don't say to himself that it was no such a hollow world. After all, he had discovered a great law of human action without knowing it, namely that in order to make a man or a boy cover a thing, it is only necessary to make the thinking difficult to attain. If he had been a great white philosopher, like the writer of this book, he would now have comprehended the word considerate of what the over a boy is obligated to do, and that play consists on whatever a boy body is not obligated to do. And this will help him to understand why constructing artificial flowers or performing on treadmill is work, while bowling intense things or climbing Mont Blanc is only amusing. There are weirdly gentlemen in England who drive 4 course passage courses 20 of 30 mile on a line in the summer because the privilege costs considerable money, but if they were offered wait for the service that was to it in the work of the day they would race. The boy mused a while over the subtle yes, change which had taken place in this worldly circumstance, and then went toward her head towards to the port.
Chapter 3. Tom presented himself before Aunt Polly, who was sitting by an open window in a pleasant rearward apartment, which was bedroom, breakfast room, dining room, and library combined. The balmy summer air, the restful quiet, the odor of the flowers, and the drowsing murmur of the bells had their effect, and she was nodding over her knitting, for she had no company but the cat, and it was asleep in her lap. Her spectacles were propped up on her right head for satellite safety. She had done that, of course. Tom had deserted long ago, and she wondered at seeing he placed himself in her power again in this intrepid way. He said, "Mayn't I go and play now, Aunt?" "What, already? How much have you done?" "It's all done, Aunt." "Tom, don't lie to me. I can't bear it." "I ain't, Aunt. It is all done." Aunt Polly placed small truths in such evidence. She went out to see for herself, and she would have been content to think 20% of Tom's statement true when she found the entire fence whitewashed, and not only whitewashed, but elaborately cut and retouched, and even a street edge to the ground. Her astonishment was almost unspeakable. She said, "Well, I never. There's no getting round it. You can't work when you're aiming to, Tom." And then the she dilute uh, the compliment by adding, "But isn't powerful seldom. You're aiming to." I'm bound to say, "Well, go long on and play," would mean you get back sometime in a week, or ill than you. She was so overcome by the splendor of his achievement that she took him into the closet and selected a choice apple and delivered it to him, along with an improving lecture upon the age, value, and flavor attributed to itself when it can without seen through virtuous effort. And while she closed with a happy structural flourish. He halted about noon. Then he slid out and saw it just starting up the outside stairway that led to the bathrooms on the second floor. Clothes were handy and the air was full of them in a dwelling. They raged around it like a hailstorm, and before Aunt Polly could collect her surprised faculties and decided to the rescue, 6 or 7 clothes had taken personal effect, and Tom was over the fence and gone. There was a guide, but as a general thing he was too crowded for time to make use of it. He sure was at peace now that he had settled with Sid for calling attention to his black thread and getting him into trouble. Tom started the block and can run into a muddy alley that led by the back of his aunt's cow stable. He presently got safely beyond his reach of capture and punishment, and hastened towards the public square of the village, where 2 military companies of boys had met for conflict. According to previous appointment, Tom was general of one of these armies, while Harper, a bosom friend, general of the other. These two great commanders did not condescend to fight in person, that being better suited to the still smaller tribe, but sat together on an eminence and conducted the field operations by orders delivered to aids the camp. Tom's army won a great victory. After a long and hard fought battle, then the dead were counted prisoners exchanged. The terms of the next disagreement agreed upon, and the day for the necessary battle appointed, after which the armies fell into line and marched away, and Tom turned homeward alone. As he was passing by the house where Jeff Thatcher lived, he was a new year in the garden, a lovely light blue-edged creature with yellow are plaited into 2 long tails, white summer frock and embroidered pantalettes. The fresh drowned her hero fell without fearing a shot. A certain Amy Lawrence vanished out of his hair and left not even a memory of herself behind. He had, though he loved her to distractions, he had regarded his passion and as adoration, and behold it was only a poor lily evanescent partially. He had been months winning her. She had confessed hardly a week ago. He had been the happiest and the proudest boy in the world only 7 short days, and her in one instant of time she had gone out of his heart like a casual stranger whose visit is done. He worshipped this new angel with furtive eye, till he saw that she had discovered him. Then he pretended he did not know she was present, and began to show off in all sorts of absurd boyish ways, in order to win her admiration. He kept up this grotesque foolishness for some time, but by and by, while he was in the midst of some dangerous gymnastic performance, He glanced aside and saw that the little girl was wending her way toward the house. Tom ran up to the fence and leaned on it, weeping and hoping she would tarry yet a while longer. She halted a moment on the steps and then moved towards the door. Tom heaved a great sigh as she put her foot on the threshold, but his face lit up right away, for she tossed a pansy over the fence a moment before she disappeared. The boy ran around and stood within a foot or two of the flower, and then shaded his edges with his hand and began to look down the street as if he had discovered something of interest going on in that direction. Presently he picked up a straw, a big one, trying to balance it on his nose, with his head tilted far back, and as he moved from side to side in his efforts, he edged nearer and nearer toward the pansy. Finally, his bare foot rests upon it, his pliant toes close upon it, and he hopped away with the treasure and disappeared round the corner, but only for a minute, only while he could button the flowers inside his jacket, nets his hair, or nets his stomach possible, for he was not much posed in anatomy, and now appeared critical anyway. He returned now and hung about the fence till nightfall, showing off as before, but the girl never exhibited herself again. Doughton comforted himself a little with the hope that she had been near some window, meantime, and being aware of his attentions. Finally he strode home reluctantly, with his poor head full of visions. And though sober his spirits were so high that his and wonder what bad got into the child, he took a good scolding about clothing seat, and did not seem to mean it in the least. He tried to steal sugar under his aunt's very nose, and got his not less rapid for it. He said, "Aunt, so you don't what sit when he takes it. Well, sit don't torment a body that why you do. You'd be always into that sugar if I were watching you." Recently she stepped into the kitchen and sat happy in his immunity rage, for the sugar bone a sort of glaring overtone which was well-nigh unbearable, but Sid's fingers slipped and the bone dropped and broke. Tom was in ecstasis, in such ecstasis that he even controlled his tongue and was silent. He said to himself that he would not speak a word even when his aunt came in, but would sit perfectly still till she asked who did the mischief, and then he would tell, and there would be nothing so go in the world as to see that pit model catch it.
He was so fearful of exhortation that he could hardly hold himself when the old lady came back and stood above the break discharging guidance of words from over her spectacles. He said to himself, "Now it's coming," and the next instant he was sprawling on the floor. The bottom palm was unbuilt to strike again when Tom cried out, "Hold on, not! What did you believe me for?" The sheet broke it. Aunt Polly paused, perplexed, and Tom looked her head in pity. But when she got her tongue again, she only said, "Oh, well, you didn't get a Miss African. You went into some other adult mischief when I wasn't around, like enough." Then he crossed his reproaching, and she yearned to say something kind of loving, but she used and used to construct into confession that she had been in the wrong, and discipline forbidden. So she kept silence, went about her affairs, and shaved her. Top sulked in a corner and excited his boots. He knew that in the heart his sound was of her news to him, and he was more than gratified by the consciousness of it. He would hang out no signals. He would take notice of none. He knew that the jeering glaze fell upon him now and then through a film of tears. But he refused recognition of it. He pictured himself lying sick upon death, and himself bending over him, beseeching a little forgiving word. But he would turn his face to the wall and die with that word and said, and how she felt then? And he pictured himself brought home from the river, dead with his horse all wet, and he saw her at rest. How, how would throw herself upon him, and how her tears full apart like rain, and her lips pray God to give her back her boy, and she would never abuse him anymore. But he would lie there cold and white and make no sign, a poor little sufferer whose griefs were at an end. He so worked upon his feelings with the pathos of these dreams that he had to keep swallowing. He was so like to choke, and his eyes swam in a blur of water, which overflowed when he winked, and ran down and dripped from the end of his nose. Such a clear to him was this bed of his sorrows, that he could not bear to have any worldly sureness of any great delight enjoyed upon it. It was so too sacred for such conduct, and so presently when his cousin Mary danced in, all alive with the joy of seeing home again after an 8 month visit of 1 week to the country. He got up and moved in clouds and darkness out at one door, as she both song stretched out at the other. He wandered far from the cautious house of boys, and found the desolate place that were in harmony with his spirit. A long gap in the river by him, and he seated himself on the other edge and contemplated the dreary waters of the stream, wishing the while that he could only be drowned, all at once and unconsciously, without undergoing the uncomfortable routine devised by nature. Then he thought of his flower, he got it out, rumpled and wilted, and it mildly increased by this mild felicity. He wondered if she would pity him if she knew. Would she cry and wish that she had a right to put her arms around his neck and comfort him? Or would she turn coldly away like all the hollow world? This picture brought such an agony of pleasure, shivering, that he wore it
over again in his mind and set it up in new and varied lights till he wore it threadbare. At last he rose up, speaking, and departed in the darkness. About 9:30 or 10 o'clock he came along the deserted street to where the adored unknown lived. He paused a moment. No sound fell upon his listening ear. A candle was casting a dull glow upon the curtain of a second-story window. Was the secret prison there? He climbed the fence, threaded his stealthy way through the plants, till he stood under the window. He looked up at it long and with emotion, then he laid it down on the ground under it, disposing himself upon his back, with his hands clasped upon his breast and holding his poor wilted flower, until he would die out in the cold world, with no shelter over his harmless head, no friendly hat to wipe the dead damps from his brow, no loving face bent pityingly over him with a great agony came, and thus she would see him when she looked out upon the glad morning. And oh, would she drop a little tear upon his poor lifeless form? Would she heave a little sigh, see a bright young life so rudely blighted, so untimely cut down? The window went up. A maid servant's discordant voice profaned the holy calm, and a deluge of water drenched the prone martyr's remains. The strangling hero sprang up with a relieving snort. There was a whiz of a missile in the air, mingled with a murmur of course, a sound of shivering glass followed, and smoke, vague form went over the fence and shot away in the gloom. Not long after, as Tom, all undressed for bed, was surveying his strange garments by the light of the tallow dip, Sid woke up, but if he had any dim idea of making any reference to allusions, he thought better of it, and held his peace, for there was danger in Tom's eyes. Tom turned in without the added vexation of prayers, and Sid made mental note of omission.